Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, to the republic, which is one nation, under God, liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of March 4th as written. Second. All in favor? Maybe not. That's the creator. Signing your life away. But I don't use my real name. All right, tax collector treasurer, Miss Moore.
Yeah, this week is that on Thursday, everyone will be able to go onto the website and pay their tax bill or fitness center renewal or whatever. We're gonna have the whole credit card thing up and running
Nice.
on Thursday.
We get a percentage of the credit card charged.
Yeah.
I got a question for you on that. I tried to get on the website today, I couldn't get on it at all. I mean, the internet was working fine, but couldn't get on the website.
Wait, you got spectrums?
Yeah, is that right?
That's all I have. Nothing exciting.
So is that why I couldn't get on it?
I don't know, talk to Doug Rowe, man, he's loving spectrums.
They installed mine yesterday. Now I don't have phones. Speakers on the computer don't work. Yeah, it's wonderful. And when I call them, they'll say, oh, the installation was free. But if we have to have something come and look again, we'll have to charge.
Even if they didn't do it right.
Who's that?
Oh, I got.
I gotta say something with it. Phone works, TV works, and the internet is super fast. But I can't get anything. It went right by, I guess.
Some point will we have the ability to sign on and get email reminders?
Yes.
Is
Yes,
that running yet?
it's not running yet. But I haven't figured it out.
All right. Okay.
When they do, I'll pass it along to you.
Some,
Yes, yeah, but on Thursday, when you can go in and pay, you'll be able to view your tax bill at real time. So it's like going right into our own computer, you'll be able to see them, which is good. Easy to manage, e-bill.
Floor's yours.
Will the old way still be permissible as of Thursday?
Yes, you will always take cash.
Cash is good.
Well, I still, there's that thing where I can't download. But I can download it. You know, he's gonna come looking for tax abatement, well, it's bad.
All right.
Sometimes it works, sometimes, you know, sometimes you
Been paying my taxes out of that amount of money that, who is that that's after me for $178,000?
Oh, yeah.
Did you see the one, I sent you another one today?
Oh, you sent me one today?
Oh, yes, they're still, oh, yes. Now they're telling me, you better show up at the meeting.
Just call me, Bill, I'll come get you.
I must have.
ACO.
just had, bulldogs. A welfare check on a farm animal. And barking dog.
Okay. Sweet.
I forgot Elizabeth on there. I forgot to let Elizabeth on that.
Oh, that's like.
Ain't this? Damn, mom.
She's all good to that.
Town clerk, Miss Elizabeth.
Alright, so I just have a couple of reminders. The nominating papers are available for pickup for the June 10th and 11th open town meeting. And there's a couple of openings available, so there's one opening for a selectman. One for a planning board, 2 for a budget committee, and then 2 for school board, with one of those being an alternate position. And then, also a reminder that the absentee ballots are available, for the April 1st referendum.
On the planning board, is that because it's due this year?
Yes.
Okay, so that's Tom Dugas, correct?
Yeah.
He is not running. He told me today he's not running. So,
And nomination papers have to be returned by the 20th,
15th. April 15th,
15th.
45 day period. Yep.
Okay, that's, I think someone said the 20th the other day. It's 15th. And requires 25 to, was it 50 signatures or something?
Yes.
25.
25 to 100.
I mean,
100. 25 to 100.
25 to 100, okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Don't yell.
On the signatures, they have to be residents of Brownfield.
Yes.
And, what I do is I ask people, can you print legibly? So the clerk or the registrar can. That's very important, because if I can't read it, I don't accept it. That's me.
Really?
Yes. Chief?
It's one mutual aid call to Denmark, 1 chimney fire, 2 vehicles off the road, 4 electrical hazards, and 9 medical calls. Last Saturday, we had 10 people attend a UTV training on Saturday. I want to thank Matt and Ben Cohen and Ed Harris Cook for use of their property. We had about a 4-mile course. We had 10 people attend. This Saturday, we're doing ice rescue training with the town of Denmark. Dam. Our fire extinguisher were replaced last Wednesday. The guy was sick on Wednesday, supposed to be here, so last Wednesday we were down and replaced all the fires. You got the bills, disseminate to the other departments. Okay. Wick's gonna be attending a 551 program at Castle Fire. 551, 552 program. And I'll be working on getting our forestry equipment ready for the next forest fire season. Gonna come fast.
It's coming quick.
I think it's gonna be fast, so we're gonna be prepared. I'm good.
That's sweet. Thank you. Mr. Lucy?
We kind of finalized the RFP with the exception of hearing back from legal. We're still waiting for that. Once we get that, we can send out all of our RFP binders to respective engineering and building firms. We've scheduled a public information meeting with the select board next Tuesday, the 18th, in the community center. That's all I got.
Health officer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm gonna guess it was 2 or 3 years ago, but the town filled out some initial paperwork to get us involved in with MMA. It's called the Workers' Compensation Incentive Program.
there's a list of things that you have to accomplish, mostly in the safety area, things, a lot of which we've done, recently done a lot of. Should you reach certain levels, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 is the way they have it. You get a cut rate, so to speak, on the interest rate or whatever of the workers' comp insurance that you buy. So it would save the town a few bucks to get these folks to say, yes, they're in the program and they qualify. The issue is the town, the Board of Selectmen, a couple of years ago, there was some paperwork submitted. I'm gonna use the word number three. The first 2 signature blocks, just sign off, send it in. The third one is the beginning of checking off, yes, we have this, yes, we have that, yes, we'll do this. That, for some reason, was never followed through on or whatever. So the guy that's in charge of the risk management area at Maine Municipal inquired to the town, are you still interested in this program? And if you are, contact us. Patty has done that. She and I discussed it. I was asked to look into it a bit myself. I spoke with the guy, his name's Jim Toland, I believe. We had quite a long conversation, actually. And his suggestion is, if we are interested, and that would be up to the board and folks gathered, and that if we are interested enough to stay involved in this program, we need to start from the beginning again. That's no big deal. That's 2 forms that you sign, and Patty can send them in. I looked over the stuff. There's a checkoff sheet. There's 3 different tiers. It gets a little bit more difficult as you go. But a lot of it, I think we could check off right now. Yes, we've done this. Yes, we have that. Yes, we've looked at that. There are some other things that could probably take a little bit. But he would like to know if we're going to get involved. And if so, he wants that 3rd tier completed, or at least a portion of it completed by the end of August this summer. So I'm going to leave it up to the board. If you want us to send in the paperwork and get us re-enrolled, so to speak, get caught up, Patty and I have discussed that we can do that. I have even gone so far as to ask her if she would be agreeable to be considered the contact person. There's a place on one of the sheets where it says who's going to be the local contact person. Since she's here in the office, I thought that would work well. So I'll leave it up to you guys. We've discussed it. I'm game. If you are, Patty and I will get going on it as quickly as we can.
Here we go. I'd say so.
Mhm.
Yep. Cool. Those for all the insurance or
Workers' comp.
just workers' comp?
That's working comp.
Okay, yeah, workman's comp now, you have to include the contract rates. If they don't have workman's comp or liability, we have to include them in our policy.
With comp,
Yeah, I mean, when Mike doesn't,
not for workman's comp.
for workman's comp, for contract labor, I have it.
Who do we have a contract with?
Huh?
Who do we have a contract with?
Well, you have Brian Fortier for the one plow.
He's not contract.
He's not contract.
No, he's considered a town employee.
Oh,
Anyone that works for the town gets a stipend.
okay, so yeah, that was
There's
essentially.
no
So, yeah, they give it to the town employee, but it's their contract. Okay, so there's no contract for it.
Good. You want us to do it?
Sounds good to me. I mean, we're working with MMA.
Can I just say one thing? So while we were talking today, we were talking today and you had mentioned to me, like, one of the reasons why we think that possibly it wasn't followed through on is because maybe there were some, maybe there were just some prohibitive things, or they were a little, I don't want to say oppressive, but for example, you brought up, they may tell us who we can have mow.
Well, I've got to go for this because this was the part of the conversation which could have gone a little awry, but there's a list of folks that I've already got one that's up at the house. And if something were to happen or something were needed, he says that they want us to use the people that they designate. So I said,
And
well,
and
for
one-
instance, we have in each of the books that we have policy procedure. If there's a need for medical attention or whatever, it says the Bridgeton Hospital. And the Bridgeton Hospital's phone number and address is right in there. And he like corrected me and he said, oh, we have someone in Bridgeton. It's, I don't know, he named some name. And it's the same address as the hospital. So I don't know if there's an addition out in the back of the hospital that where this outfit has an office or something. That's one of the things we were gonna check on. There were a number of things that Patty and I think we could make a discussion of. And maybe when we get to the third sheet where we start checking off things, maybe we'll come back to you guys and say, this is getting a little testy here right now. If they really think that we're obligated to utilize who they want us to, that's not the way I would suggest going about it.
Right, no, agreed.
The first two forms that I'm gonna ask you guys to sign is just that. It's a signature saying, we're interested in this program. The third one is where you start doing stuff so that you can go to the sheet and check off. Matter of fact, I think maybe I'll make a bunch of copies of them and make sure that each of the selectmen gets one. You guys can see what we're talking. But there's nothing that says once we've sent in the first two that we must continue and use all these people they want us to. We'll use who we pick out of the file.
Which one?
Dealing with workers' comp. What they're doing is they're telling you who they want you to use for doctors because they want to control. They don't want you going to your personal doctor and saying this or this. They want you to go to a specific doctor. That doctor will determine on if you need to see a specialist or whatever. They want to have control of that. That's what that comes down to.
If that is the case, and if that's what Patty and I find out when we get into this and started asking questions, if that is the case, then we're coming back, or I'm coming back anyway, and to the board and suggest to you that we not complete that third section and they can. I don't know how much money we're not gonna save, but I'm not gonna tell people who they must go see for their own health.
Because right now, who you have for workers' comp, you guys are sending to the British hospital to be looked at. But if they wanted to, they could go to their own doctor, yes or no?
I don't know.
You don't know, okay, that's about workers' comp, that's what they're trying to do, they're trying to keep it in a little package because they're gonna tell you whether. Yes, you're hurt and you are gonna be out of work for so long, or no, you need to go back to work, we don't deem your injury proof. That's what they got, the only reason I know this is, I just dealt with this with my son.
I know they have a stipulation in there, one of the requirements is that in each of our policy and procedure manuals, we have a letter of sorts indicating how many days of light duty the individual is going to have when they're coming back from being out of work. So I would assume that that is something that we're gonna have to discuss. Department head and physician are gonna have to agree that Joe needs 5 days as opposed to 2 that we thought he'd take at the transfer station or whatever, you know, that third sheet is the one that's gonna get us going, yeah, that's for sure.
You guys have got to set up what you consider as workman's comp. I mean, light duty, and how much they're gonna be able to do. You guys set the policy on
Like, looks like we want to leave again.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I would think that'd be up to the doctor they're going to say whether or not they're capable of the work. I mean,
Yeah, but light
how can
duty,
we determine that?
what you may consider to be light duty, what the doctor considers light duty, may not be the same thing, so you can't accommodate that person. So that person's gonna stay out on workman's comp. He's not gonna be able to come back and do light duty, because it doesn't meet your criteria.
I see. Well, insurance companies,
They got things on it, no, ourselves, yes, they are. Public Works.
You get a DNR, paving and sealing coming sometime with the tennis courts. snow leaves. To do the, see what, put sealing in the crack. That, Superior Striping's coming. To do the lines and try to figure out how many handicaps we need at the rec center. Guy's pretty good, that's what he does, there's.
When did Charlie say he was coming to do the rec center paving?
He said, we're first on the list. When they get the asphalt plant up and running.
Okay.
It's a warm day. We'll do that. Got the septic working at the substation,
How bad was that?
had about 8 inches of ice in the tank. Yeah. But, we got the toilet working, I just gotta coordinate a time to get in there and clean it up for them. Talked to Tim and Murray yesterday about that. We got a bunch of work at the transfer station, we got a bunch of gates that are messed up. Some of the beams on the metal deals on the roofs. Stuff cracks in the wells, we got that filled up. Speaking of the substation, it's got electric heat. As far as what Tim was saying on Tango, that they put a new thermostat in not too long ago. But sometimes it's 100 degrees or sometimes it's 20 below. It's not thermostating, I guess you'd say. So I got a suggestion is, why can't we do, it's the same size building as the transfer, why couldn't we switch that over to propane? Just a propane monitor. It wouldn't take much.
Check it out, see what it costs.
There's,
What's the tank down at transfer station?
20, maybe like 8.
200 gallon?
Well,
Yeah, probably 200 gallon.
yeah,
Yeah, price it out.
but that's. I mean, they fill it up like once a year, maybe.
Yeah, they just pull it up and say, a little over $200. And that's it, won't be filled up for next year, so.
Price it out.
We posted the roads Monday. I still got. There's a logging crew on upper end of Thurston. I think they moved out yesterday. And then I've got a crew on Old County Road, Drew. Not quite sure what they're up to. They moved the excavator in there the other day. Not know if they're gonna stay until roads are not close enough. Keep an eye.
You gonna run up and talk to them?
Yeah. I went up there this afternoon and I guess it was around lunch. They must have been lunch. They weren't there. That's all we got.
Rec director?
The Huskies basketball team wrapped up their season with some travel ball. They combined with the Lovell team to create a travel team. They spent the last 2 weeks traveling around, so to speak, all-star team, playing in southern Maine, and then they played in a tournament, the Westbrook Paper Classic, last weekend. They finished third, which was pretty good showing considering the teams down there are pretty stout. So basketball season's over. They had a good showing down there. Spring signups have been out for a few weeks now. They are available online, and we're going to have a meeting next Wednesday at 5 p.m. in the community room next door for anyone that couldn't sign up online, and just to meet and greet with some parents that are new to it. Besides that, we have our usual stuff going on. Monday, the 17th, we'll have another art class, 1 to 3. That's our first and third Thursdays. Thursday mornings, we have the walking group from 8 to 12. Coffee hour. starts at 9:30 and yoga is at 6 p.m. That's every Thursday. The Friends of Rec meet tomorrow night. We'll be discussing April events, Easter, upcoming events. We did have a dance planned for next weekend and we've postponed that date to be determined. I did get an email from Rosie Valley Cleanup. And we will be participating in that again. We're gonna be looking for volunteers for that day. That's May 3rd. It's the first Saturday. That's usually 8 to 12. So anyone that's interested in helping clean up the town, mark that on your calendars. Tomorrow night's meeting is at the community center for the Friends of Rec, 6:30.
Is there a meeting?
Yes. There's information on the transfer station.
Yeah, we'll be in the community room.
Will you make a map over it?
Yeah. Go back over and take care of that tonight.
Next Tuesday, the 18th, selectmen's meeting will be at the community center.
Yeah, I just heard what
Yeah.
on that, so we'll take note. Let's tomorrow, 18th and 19th next door, correct?
Yes.
Let's do Wednesdays and next Tuesday.
Yep.
Yep.
Have the bathroom been started over there?
No. We're still waiting on holding.
Yeah.
Bottom line. Yes.
It's been a while.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, reach over. Is that it?
That's it.
Tim Lyons, short-term traffic calming and signage proposal.
Hey, how we doing? I'm Tim, nice to meet y'all, also nervous about getting in front of speaking for a couple of people, so. Honestly, I have just kind of, I'm turning off Flatlander coming up, I'm not trying to tell everybody what to do or make any, but you know, that intersection sort of that trap, I've only been here since August, so I've already been here, just almost hit once there, but somebody went through the stuff. Kind of no big deal, you get along with it, you figure it out. But I noticed online there's a lot of conversations around improvements. And it looks like the town's been doing a lot of research. I mean, I see that you had to approach the state for some funding potentially for the peanut about approach. And looks like that may not happen. And so I started to float some, ideas really started in my head, like what could we do that wouldn't cost the town much? Potentially we could approach Maine dot for some funding, and I sort of came up with what I had submitted to you folks. I honestly wasn't prepared to do a whole presentation on it, but and you guys may have seen people that work that we've had a real increase in crashes there over the last 5 years. I mean, 10 years you had 22, in the last 5, 14 of them, one of them being fatal. We've got the issue now with the pedestrian trail, the walking trail going to be coming online. That's going to introduce additional people in there. So I think we kind of have to do something, but I understand that the town doesn't want to spend a lot of money. And there's been a lot of resistance and kind of change there from some of the feedback the past week and a half or so. All excellent stuff, by the way. Everybody I've talked to in town has been great. A lot of it's been online. Some really good conversation. For the record, I do work for another state's Department of Transportation, so I may have bounced a few of these ideas when the ones I submitted to you guys up with some peers down there. But basically, what I'm proposing is really pretty straightforward. Nothing crazy. Some enhanced warning signs. Maybe some radar-based display signs similar to what we have down by the school, Denmark Road. Some rumble strips. That flashing beacon that nobody wants to do, there is a solar option, right? So instead of having to worry about the power, there is a solar option available. The cost of the town would be a new battery about every 5 or 6 years when that doesn't need to be replaced. So it's a potential way to offset one of the big, what I've already seen is one of the big issues, which is, how do we fund those things and how do we pay for that improvement? Let's see what else they have here. Some, use some optical speed bars and stop ahead, even just the, I don't know if you've all seen them, but even the stoplights that flash. So you don't have to go all the time, but it can detect a car coming down the road, black flag. Again, solar power, right? So stay away from the whole power issue. And the other thing, really was using potentially optical speed bars, and that was a neat one. And I have to thank an engineer, Mouse, we actually threw that one down, got it done in his town, but basically it just does an optical illusion. The speed bars, you see the lines going by, but they start to get closer and closer and closer. So it gives the illusion to people that they are going faster, and it does create a bit of a slowdown. Right? I ballparked a number, so please don't hold anything there. I think it's about 50,000. You could do all the improvements. Approach properly, and again, things have changed with Maine dot and funding, but they have a high crash location program that should be able to help offset the cost. And there's also a spot safety improvement program, which provides funding for lower cost, high impact safety measures. So I was really asking the town if they'd be willing to explore this a little bit with, with Maine dot to potentially see what we can do as an interim measure to kind of just improve the overall safety of the intersection. And like described in one of the conversations, it's a known issue. A lot of people have brought it up back and forth with the town, and the town's trying to do something. But sooner or later, someone's going to get killed, and somewhere is going to get the right idea to try to sue the town for it as well, right? You get to both state or everybody involved. I'm just trying to get ahead of that, and I'm more than happy to help. I actually worked on a longer proposal that I hoped to have done that really looked at all the options, from this traffic calming stuff down to geographic redesign to the rotaries. But it's just not ready for prime time yet. I'm so hoping to get some time this week to throw it together and give it to you folks to take a look at. But I just want to bring it up to you guys and see what you thought, and see if we might be able to do something along those lines. I'd be happy medium to just improve that intersection a little bit.
Well, the Maine DOT come down here and they've walked it. They've come in and spoken to the select board, to the taxpayers. All the roads over there, other than Depot Street, are state roads.
Right.
The state pretty much said there's not enough crashes here to qualify for traffic pattern change.
Right, a geographic redesign would definitely be expensive. Yes. Even a set of stoplights, a four-way stop would be a $200,000 investment roughly for that. That's why I thought of looking at something that was much more palatable, because 50,000 is a lot of money to me. But as far as from the Maine dot perspective, by trying to leverage maybe some of that spot funding, and I know there's not a lot, and everybody else is trying to do the same thing. I just thought it might be an option, something that wasn't as, I love the idea of the rotary or unit about it, whatever we end up doing, but that seems like a longer term plan. And anything done here too would facilitate that future growth as well. So I mean, the whole idea would be able to leverage what's there to continue to do whatever we do 2 years, 5 years, 6 years, or never, whatever the town decides to do for state. But anyways, I just wanted to throw it out there and see if maybe we could explore that.
What if we try to one-way Depot Street?
Yep.
And talk to the state about one-way Big Street. You're taking care of two roads. And
Well, I don't like that idea. No, I'm kidding.
Talk to or Dylan, if he can get rid of one of his entrance.
Yeah, the one closer to the intersection on 5, that's the one that, that causes a lot of
I
problems.
don't know, that's an option.
No, I love it. Those are the things that I like, right? Anything we can do to help just kind of get a little less chaos. Roads coming together, and
because Depot, there is, it's not very long street. They can get on a Misty Lane,
right,
come back on 160, and
that's one of the things I looked at. You could actually move that, put it back out on Misty and bring it out the other side, and then have it come down on Denmark Road.
Big Street might be an issue, I don't know.
A lot of trucks.
Yeah,
a lot of
logging trucks going.
A lot of people cut through from 160 to 113 on Big Street.
Yeah, I was surprised when I saw the number. They're a little low, but I saw the numbers with Big Street. It was pretty. There's in the thousands of cars a day going up and down that street, and that was 3 years ago.
I think a lot of this has to do with speed.
Yeah.
Don't we have one of those speed things? Didn't the fire department take that? Can we put that out and see?
Can.
Depending on Main Street.
Yeah, I have it on Main Street, have it on 515 State Street, what?
5113 Main Street.
Record of whatever it is.
I'll slow everybody down.
You didn't do that.
I think they were.
We, you know, they do that like what?
Or see what I get. Stuff that kind of, you look for the camel.
So
They don't have like that.
Is it possible, like where the speed limit cuts down coming into the intersection? One thing, it's 45 miles an hour, which seems excessive coming into that intersection.
Yeah.
Plus, they only warn you, that sign only warns you a tenth of a mile before you get to the intersection. So is it possible to advance that both signs further down the road with a slower speed limit? I don't know.
I think that's something we should be looking at.
I love the thought of the rumble strips.
Well, that's it. Well, that's what we chose to-
They don't have to be given on the food. You read it? But they don't have to be the obnoxious ones that rattle your teeth in your.
Well, let's say,
Okay, so,
You've been in touch with DOT, right?
I can be,
Yeah,
yeah.
so maybe you and I can get together something, talk about dropping the speed limit and pushing them further, you know, out of town. So,
because the train pull up on the road on my driveway.
yes,
And we kind of get us.
yeah. Unless there's the other cutoff, you know, unless there's the other cutoff. No, the other cutoff, the Denmark.
Oh.
We're gonna miss that one too. which is-
You're driving now. Right on that corner. Yeah, right on that corner.
all right, Dave,
Okay.
come on.
We gotta get with us. Yeah, Arthur.
Yeah, I'll be sure.
Give a phone number or?
Joe, I haven't, I'm trying to call him. Meet the land. Just got a sheet.
For traffic.
I gotta get a shot. Find out if Neil's found out anything at all.
She called, reached a meeting with Maine DOT. And one thing, just to remind everybody, what Maine DOT said is that they base their decisions on scientific knowledge. That was a quote from the guy. And when every 2 years, at maybe about 6 or 7 spots in the town, they take traffic flow readings. And they said our traffic flow wasn't high enough to warrant, doing something at that intersection. And then they tried to, make it sound, they asked us whether we would like to contribute 60% to, like $150,000 project, which, we don't want to do. It's DOT roads, they should be doing it. But I think it's worth, like a shot with Maine DOT, to bring them back and also to go to our legislators and talk to them and, find out if they can push, because this intersection here has nothing going for it. And yet when you ride through sections like, I think over in Poland, they've got stop signs that are lit up day and night. They've got a signal, and you go there, you could sit there for probably 5 minutes and there's not a car that goes by. So it makes me wonder about that, traffic flow. There had to have been some reason there, somebody pushed that. Anyway, the other part to that is, if you want to look into things, it can be done through the Comprehensive Plan Implementation Committee at traffic chapter. So, that's another avenue that, if you're interested, we have a meeting coming up, but that could be another avenue to approach the state with.
Yeah, that's why that conference report was really good when that did want to go ahead, so I'm definitely see that. And to your point about politics, in my experience, but not stuff, I can tell you, yes, absolutely, Stuckey will get grease, and if your politician's doing sweeping for you, it tends to get grease.
That didn't change things. Sign committee.
Absolutely.
Isn't there a rule in town that if you're over 70, you don't have to stand? I didn't bring my birth certificate, but
Put your eyes on.
Happy
happy birthday. This is some more information that WIT created, got on the split block, and also another version of what the sign might look like and what some other signs look like. So the first thing I want to do is thank everybody who was on the sign committee: Debbie Tate, Chad Pine, Whit Lucy, Lynn Boyle, and also Alvina and Michelle. They helped find some of the contractors that we contacted. We contacted, and let me just start out by saying none of us knew anything about electronic messaging cards. That's what they're called. You know, we call them electronic signs or electric signs or digital signs, but that's the name for them. We didn't know anything, so we were going in blind, but fortunately we were dealing with some contractors who spelled everything out, and that gave us the lead to look into, you know, like to make sure everybody had the same specification. Some of them, you know, like were close, and some of them fell a little bit short. But we ended up getting 4 bona fide quotes from 4 companies, and that was Burr, Northern Neocraft, and Stewart. Stewart and Burr were the highest bidders. They were at 44,000 for the 6mm sign. And of course, when we then looked into 9mm signs, and that's a sign that's not as clear. What that means is you take 2 pixels and they're 6mm apart from center to center, 9mm apart, 10, 12, whatever it might be. The further apart you get, the less clarity you have. So this, the 4, we went through the bids for the proposals from the 4 contractors, and as of right now, the least expensive is Neocraft. Now, Burr, Neocraft, and Northern are all from Maine. Stewart, as I mentioned, is from Florida. So our 2 low bidders were Neocraft and Northern Signs, and even with that, there was about a $4,000 difference between the 2 of them. So we started out basing our pricing on 6mm because everybody told us that's you get the most clarity, it looks the best. But then as we got involved in this, more and more of the contractors said, you know, most towns go with a 10mm. So we said, okay, well, and we got prices on 6 and 8. So then we went back out and we asked them what would it cost to go with a 9 or 10. Some of them don't make 10, some of them only make 9. So, you know, we stuck with 9. So to start out, a sign, soup to nuts, where they would come in, they would install the frame, they would pour the footing, they would install the frame, they put in the message board, and get it up and running. The low bidder there was $41,075. Now, what that includes is we've got $4,000 in there for a contingency, because there's always something that gets missed. This cost of the display sign, electrical, and some split block to go around the footing, to go around the base. That's what the sign would look like from if we had them do it soup to nuts. Pretty, you know, standard sign like you see. It's got 2 metal posts, 2 cross members, some gold finials on top. So the 6mm was 4105. If we went to a 9mm, it was 36,860. And the one that we kind of think, you know, might be more appealing to the town is a 9mm with us hiring a contractor to install a wood frame, and it would not have a town of Brownfield sign above it. So it's stripped down for the most part. And Whit Lucy prepared this. You can, you know, just get a general idea. Everybody up there, you've seen this already. The price for that is $32,206. So there's a big difference, and there's a big difference between that number and the 2 high bidders, which were at 44,000. So out of that 32,206, there's $4,000 in there for contingency. It's under the permits line item, but I didn't want to create another sheet, so I just stuck it in there as a contingency. And that contingency is for anything we may think of. And actually today, I happened to think of something because I was talking to Andy Buck, who gave us a price for the timber frame. And that is down at the bottom of his frame, he has to have some type of metal boot or coupler that goes on top of the concrete piers. So I bumped up that contingency from what I had told everybody last night from 3,000 to 4,000. But if you have any questions on this, and this may not be the forum for it, but if you do, if you were to look at this sheet, which is the display board, we have a lot, that's that sheet. We have a lot of information on there. And some of it, we'll be honest with you, we can't explain it to you. For instance, they have brightness, and the brightness is 7,500 nits. When we asked them to explain that, like it still sounded like Greek to us. But anyway, across the board, they were all in that same range, 7,500, 8,500, 8,000, so forth and so on. One other thing with the low bidder is that they do have a UL label on their sign, which I think is important. They do want an 80% deposit. Some were 50, some were 80. Low and the high were both 80. When I asked them if they would reduce that, they said they never reduce it. And we really don't have anything, maybe if they were the second bidder and they were $1,000 higher and we liked them, we could go and negotiate with them and get them to come down to 50%. But anyway, it's at 80%. And just some of the logistics behind this, if we authorize NeoCrab to proceed, in about, let's say a week, they would be able to get us a shop drawing to show us what the dimensions are for the wood frame. And then it would take, once we gave them the go-ahead, it would take approximately 6 weeks for them to make the sign. Now, all the components come from China, but they assemble them here. And then they purchase it from different manufacturers. There's different software. We tried to find out as much as we could about the software. There's this particular company, NeoCraft, they use Cirrus, Daktronics, which is used in many of the stadiums throughout the country. It's also another popular one. And then there were the other bidders had other software. Now, the one thing to realize with this is that this technology with this sign is changing every year. And so you can only get parts for the sign for 10 years. After 10 years, they won't keep the parts on hand. You might be lucky, I can find them, but the second thing is that these are LED lights. LED lights last for 100,000 hours. That's what, is advertised usually with all LED lights, or most of them anyway. So that's another thing to take into consideration. The other thing we found out, and all of them had this, you can program it. You have any colors you want. The programming could consist of, like if you wanted a message up there every 10 seconds, every 30 seconds, every minute, you could do that. You can change it through a phone app. One of the companies told us that you can begin to read the sign from about 150 feet, and then at about 25 feet, it starts to lose its clarity. So those are some of the, odds and ends about it. But I will say this, Mark Moulton did do some research. If you look at this price, $32,206, that's basically $3,200 a year to, put your information out there every day. If you did it in a newspaper twice a week, it's something like 25,000, right?
That's 3 times a week.
3 times a week. So even if you split that in half, it's $12,500 a year. So those are some of the things to take into consideration. But personally, I think the biggest advantage of this is that none of the folks here in this office have to go out there and change letters. And if you've never done it, it's not fun. Even on the nicest day, it's a pain in the neck. You have to come in here, you have to get the letters and numbers for 2 sides, go out, put them up, and then you can only put up really one announcement out there on the board. And you can imagine how big that sign would be if we put multiple listings out there. It'd be huge. See, like a billboard, the state would probably prevent us from doing that. So anyway, those are some of the things to think about. And if you have any questions, our way.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So that, you mentioned that number, and you said the market came in from China, they have pre-existing inventory. We have to worry about this impending tariff increasing that cost by 25%.
You know, nobody had mentioned that, and we did this, I did discuss it with the low bidder. They don't seem to be concerned at this point. You know, who knows what might change, but so far so good, and especially if we get it released, you know, like as soon as possible, we'd probably be in pretty good shape.
And the other question is more along, so I love the idea of the remote sign. That's why I do information security, is literally what I do for a living, see car council like this. We, even at the state level, had issues where those signs have been acting less than desirable things have been put up on them. So I don't maybe we can have a conversation offline, but it might be a good idea to look at what controls are there to prevent tampering. Because the last thing you want to do is drive by that sign and see something horrific out there. And then, like I said, it happens at our, you know, the state level roadsides and the display board. I've seen it happen.
That's a good question, and I'll bring it up.
Yep. And if you need any help on the, I can help on that area. That's kind of
I can't remember. We can change, we can have multiple messages going in the timer on the sign, right?
Oh, yeah, you can have as many as you want.
So
You can have-
like we could have, at the same time, we could have a select board meeting on Tuesday night. And then the next message could be, there's a rec meeting on this night over at the rec center. So you can have multiple messages rotating through there at all times.
Correct.
Okay.
And you can change them whenever you want. And one of the things that was brought up, and I'll ask, but it sounds like you can program the sign to do anything, including videos. If you had a video, you know, something that you wanted to put up, which is kind of interesting, like let's just say with the rec department, if, you know, like they wanted to show, you know, like Susie hitting a home run, you know, like in a softball game or something, or making a 3-pointer or whatever. So there's a lot that can be done. The sign can also be turned off and on for certain hours. Like if you said, hey, after 9 o'clock, we don't want to bother the people on Main Street, you could turn it off, start it back up at 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. So there's a lot of options with it.
So it's like setting the time.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
And you know, it could be used by, you know, fire department, rec department, meetings, so forth and so on.
Yeah, my concern is cost, okay? We're spending a lot of money this year. We're looking at a salt shed. We're looking at a door for the salt shed. We've spent, so much money on, ADA, you know, that we had to spend. As far as coverage, I don't think any sign is gonna give you more coverage than the shopper's guide. It goes to 24 towns in Maine, 1 town in New Hampshire. It's been in business 65 years, so obviously people read it and it's successful. The ads, you can put an insert in for like this here, but there's no need to. But I mean, the ads are all different sizes. You can put an ad in that's 1/4 of a page. I think it's for $64. This here, it's actually 1/8 of the page.
Oh, that is.
Okay, that's $64. So if you put 10 of those ads in a year, okay, which I don't think we do 10 ads a year, but I'm not sure. That's $640 a year. Okay. So at $32,000, we could put ads in for 50 years and get more coverage than that sign will ever get for coverage. I'm still talking.
I'm just raising my hand.
Yeah, okay, yeah, okay. So to me, you can't get the coverage that this paper provides. And with the explanations, and we don't, I mean, that sign out there has been there for how many years? So if we substitute that, how many more people are gonna come to meetings? Maybe 10? I mean, I don't see the advantage of the sign. Plus, if you go from here to Portland, that's the sign out there that you see at most everywhere, churches, towns. I mean, it's the same sign. I've changed the letters out there when I was on the chairman of the budget committee. It's not the big a deal. It really isn't, and you don't have to change them that often. But what's up there now, only on one side, has been up there for months. The other side, we could put on there the website and also the telephone number. So if people want to get information, they can get all through that. We're also going on a Facebook page for the town where people can get information. To spend $32,000+ at this point with a state is basically broke. Okay, they said they got no money. They're gonna have to cut maybe Maine here. The federal government's cutting assistance everywhere. We're spending money on a lot of things we have to, because we don't have a choice, the salt shed. So to me, I mean, this is something that can wait probably a year or two, because there's no real impending need for it. I mean, it's not gonna create something over, we're gonna put a new floor in the building here. Willie wants a tractor for the field. So, I mean, there's money being spent. And the least thing that needs to be an emergency right now, to me, is the sign, because we've got the website, which is gonna come up with more information. We got Facebook, we're gonna be on for information. And we got the shopper's guide, which is cheapo, and it's been in business 65 years, and people do read it. And so that's my opinion on it. I think that's something that maybe we should wait a year or two before spending the money, because we've got so much money we're spending. I mean, it's and we've had the assessors meeting with the assessors. People came there, and the major concern was their taxes they're paying this year. And now we've had people come in and get abatements. I mean, some people have, I know one person got abatement. I think Rick mentioned other people might have gotten abatements. So that money's gonna have to be made up, because they're gonna be paying less in taxes. I mean, and that's kind of where we're at. I mean, right now with the overall economy and the state, the federal government, what we should be holding on to whatever we've got that's extra and see where we can put it, where it's an emergency. I mean, that's my feeling. Go ahead, Chad.
Okay, what you're saying,
Yeah.
of holding on to the money's already set aside and appropriated for that fund. You can't hold on to money and say, well, we're gonna use it over in this thing. It's not appropriated for that. Appropriated for this particular thing, for improving the buildings. It's not, you can't take the money from this building account and move it over to salt shed. You can't do that. You guys have told us before that those things are.
Right, but we're taking money out of the capital improvement account for the sign probably. Okay,
No, that's already, yeah, capital improvement, but that's set for that particular item.
No.
You can't,
No.
no,
You're misspeaking.
okay,
Capital improvement, buildings and property is for the buildings and property
right,
of the town.
okay,
So, it is capital improvement. But I guess it's gonna come down to definition of improvement. Okay, so
improvement to me, the sign is gonna be huge, because you're gonna be able to put multiple information out on one sign versus trying to take articles out in the shopper's guide, which I get, but I never read. And then you wanna go to Conway Sun or this or that, that's still money, you're only talking one paper. People use multiple papers.
well, this is delivered to everybody's mailbox.
No, it's not.
Well, it's delivered to most people's mailbox. I get it in my mailbox and I get it in my post office box for years. It's also in the convenience stores in the town, so you go in stores and pick it up. People from out of town so I mean, the circulation on this, for 65 years, I mean, they've been successful. And if you look in here, there's actually an ad for a guy that does brush cutting. I don't know if that would help with the ditches. He's from Brownfield. So yeah, I mean.
We don't have the money for that.
What's that?
We don't have the money, we can't spend money for that.
Well, we're gonna do something with the ditches. I'm gonna pretend that with my ditches.
If
And that's
we
gonna
had
be for
something,
years.
if Wayne or one, we had something to put in the shopper's guide that needed to happen Wednesday, today's. What, Tuesday?
Yeah.
What's the time limit of that coming up for people to know that we're gonna have a meeting or something?
2 weeks.
So you have to do it, it's like you could schedule most things.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, the town has put ads in here before, so obviously they meet the schedule.
Well, that sign, if something came up and when the ladies in the office there could go, maybe out there. You wanna be waiting?
To this side, and put the letters up. It's that easy. Done it. It's not that difficult.
Yeah.
And I guess the town will appoint Vinnie to do that every day.
Hang on.
Okay.
I hear where Vinny's coming from. But I think that the town probably puts out at least like 10 announcements a month. And if they're not now, they're gonna be this spring. Just for the amount of people at the planning boards and zoning boards and building. It's gonna happen. So there's a large expense spent on advertising just on public notice, I believe. Now, does the sign replace public notice? Do you not have to put it in a paper if
At that
it's
point,
on the sign?
it would replace some of it, yes.
Okay, my second question is, would it be legal for the town to have sold advertisement on the sign? Where you can change it every few minutes? What if it was a sponsor of a team at the rec department?
I don't know.
That's just to help.
I
would avoid it.
I asked Michelle that question today about the event that they have during the summer, about getting sponsors for that Brownfield day. And she said it just did not work. Yeah.
If you have a sign, would.
Maybe.
Well, then you get into
Pretty small.
deciding who's gonna be advertising on there or not.
Depends on
So
what
do you
kind of check they-
advertise in Heiselbush, you know?
Depends on
Well,
how big.
that's what I said, it's the country.
So I mean, you can't discriminate who's gonna be on the sign. You don't
Well,
want to
actually,
do
you can.
commercialization with the town.
You can discriminate because it's a private sign. It's not.
And if you set the regulations for the sign.
Well, it's a public sign.
Right, I understand it's owned by
It's a
the public.
municipal sign.
Right.
It is not a public sign. I want to point that distinction out. It is not a public sign. That doesn't mean that a taxpayer can walk down here and just drop whatever they want on that sign. It's a municipal sign. All of the information that is put out on that sign is for municipal use.
Right, not for commercial.
Well, like I said, Bush wants to cut us a check for $500,000 to advertise Bud Light. Look it up.
But there's your legality issue. If it's a municipal sign, it sounds like you can't put any type of icon. But I know when they put the Kennett High School in, all of those signs and billboards for the gymnasium, all of them were paid for by Pepsi. Because they have Pepsi.
Okay, so first off, Kennett's in New Hampshire, so they're gonna have different statutes in state law.
Yeah, but
And,
Pepsi
well, hang
still
on,
pays for
hang
your
on.
sign.
You have one, the state difference. Two, Conway has zoning. And if you haven't looked up at their zoning regulations, that's a whole different ballgame
Yeah.
than it is over here.
Yeah, I'm talking about who paid for the sign.
He's
They
saying
paid
that
for it
someone
because
sponsored
it
the
says
sign.
Pepsi.
Right, understood.
Just on the
Understood.
sign, there's a little sticker that says Pepsi.
Right, I would,
So they
as a
put those-
taxpayer, I would be against having a sponsored sign put out in front of the town
Yeah, but
office.
there are $130,000 sign a piece.
Well, what I'm saying as a taxpayer, I'm not speaking as the chairman. As a taxpayer, I wouldn't want to have a sponsored electronic sign placed in front of the municipality. With the risk that you are now beholden to
Poland Springs.
the sponsor.
Yeah.
And
Well, I
that
agree.
could be that could be an issue in and of itself.
That's why I said I support like a team sponsor.
Yeah, my main point is, and believe me, I appreciate everybody's work they did on the sign. I mean, this is, a lot of work.
Absolutely.
I took the folder home, went through it today, it was work. I did that much homework in school, I probably would have had a better job in my life. But anyway, I mean, what I'm concerned about is all the money we can spend in this year. And what's available, the concerns that the taxpayers have been having about their assessments, what they've been paying. I'm not saying we should never get a sign. I'm just saying at this point in time, maybe we should be more concerned with the spending and the emergency of the spending and what the definite needs are. I mean, we're spending a lot of money. And taxpayers, you drive around town, it's not that big a tax base here. We don't have a lot of commercial property. We've got a lot of property that isn't really high-end property. My property isn't high-end. We got a lot of people in town that are retired, living on fixed income, whose food bills are going up, whose medical bills are going up. A lot of that's gonna be cut. My concern is if we've got foreclosures coming up because people can't pay their taxes. And if the sign was like a salt shed, we need the salt shed. There's no doubt about it. We need to do it. We obviously need a floor here, I guess. It's going crazy. So my purpose isn't to defeat the sign, to be negative about it. It's just where it fits in the major overall scheme of everything that's going on and what we really need. And do we really want to spend more money than we have to at this point, not knowing what cuts we're going to have on the federal, state level, to the school budgets? And maybe we could just hold on to whatever surplus we have. And we've got a big thing coming with the safety building coming up, and that's going to be almost $1 billion.
That's already accounted for.
Yeah, it's accounted for, but it's money that it's still money.
Yeah, but
It's money being spent.
we're talking money that's already been appropriated, spent. We're not asking the taxpayers to raise and appropriate it. We already had it.
We already raised and appropriated it. Any money we have, the town doesn't have any money. All the money we have is taxpayer money, okay? And that's the people that I'm part of, everybody is part of, I'm saying everybody's part of, and that's the people I'm concerned about. And I'm concerned about it in a lot of ways. I mean, we're gonna be coming up with the administrative budget, we're probably gonna come up with increasing wages for people, because in the office, employees, because their costs have gone up, to live. So, we've got a lot of money that we're gonna have to come up with. And this sign isn't the most urgent thing in the budget, but you're gonna sign out there that's been out there for probably 40 years. I've been here 50 years. Huh?
It says the same thing.
Yeah, and we've got more people coming to our town meeting than the moderator says he sees in any other town meeting. I mean, he always compliments us on that. And, but what are we gonna get with this sign? Are we gonna get 100 more people to come to the meeting? Probably not.
You never know.
We talked about buying, not going in front of the towns.
Correct.
Well,
Spending out of capital. That's one. There's the ADA, there's the sign.
she wants to talk.
That.
She's like, right, yeah.
Still in service, not capital. They're not capital. Yeah,
So is the money already appropriated for the sign? How much
Yes.
money is appropriated for the sign?
No, there is not. It is not a raise and appropriate. It was not, never placed as an article.
There wasn't?
No.
That town meeting never raised?
No.
No,
Okay.
So capital improvements,
yes,
capital improvement accounts.
correct.
So we have one for,
No, actually four, technically. We have capital reserve surplus,
okay.
then we have fire department, public works, and buildings maintenance.
This one
Building
for-
property, buildings property. Correct,
For the sign.
yes,
So we have the money.
correct.
And if we don't do this sign, let's say we don't,
We'll still,
the money doesn't go back to the taxpayers
correct.
because you can't do anything with that account. It doesn't fall, what do they call it?
It doesn't roll up. No, incorrect. Capital improvement accounts roll over every year.
Yeah.
It's what's
But not
put
to the
in,
taxpayer.
correct.
No.
It rolls up.
So we have the
Hang
money,
on, she's still talking, brother.
so the money. Been told we're flush. I don't know if that's true or not, but we have the money, right? We estimated what we thought it might cost, and I think I came up with 50,000, and it's less than that. Do we need to get a private donor to donate the sign? I mean, it doesn't make sense, we have the money,
Well,
right?
I won't answer your question.
You won't?
No, I will not.
Okay.
I'm new. Well, like he is. I was on the planning board of the town of Freedom. I've been a New Hampshire resident. 13th generation New Hampshire. Not from south of the border. Okay, I'm a good old boy in the town of Freedom. And these small towns are changing drastically. The town of Freedom has 2.1 roughly, give or take, $1 million in capital reserves. The town of Brownfield, from what I can see, there's a number of 0. I know that's not the case. Because of the audits,
No, I guess I don't follow your train there. You just made the statement that the town of Brownfield has a goose egg and for capital surplus.
Right.
Capital surplus. All right, well, there's a difference.
Okay.
If you understand.
I don't mean to misspeak.
The municipal finance part of it, there's a capital surplus. Okay.
Right.
So anything in the budget that does not get expended rolls over. Now, hang on. There's different definitions. So that rolls into capital surplus. Okay. General fund.
Right.
All right. So that in itself is separate from the capital improvement accounts that are separate. That does not happen. So those accounts only roll over on themselves for unexpended funds. We have to go to the taxpayers and request permission to raise and appropriate monies to go into those. Whereas in the capital surplus, that's not the case. Whatever's budgeted, say we raise and appropriate $200,000 for, I don't know,
paper clips.
Yeah. Anything. And we only spend 100,000 of that. That 100,000 goes into the general capital surplus. Okay. Now at town meeting, if we do our job, we either have an article to expend up to X amount of dollars to offset tax rate, or we do an amendment or an article to utilize like excise tax. We utilize that money to either offset public works, operating costs, or road improvement, paving, like that. So typically what the auditors would like to see us have in capital surplus, 1.2 to 1.4.
That makes sense.
And that's 6 months of operating costs.
Yeah.
Now that's going to change because there's been an increase in county, there's been an increase in school that we already know about. I don't know if the state's going to continue with revenue sharing, because when COVID hit, they stopped. And then they came back and it was what, 73 grand or something like that. We got revenue share. But you know, if what Vinny's saying is that the state's broke and you know, we're not going to get any more money from anywhere else. And all these, you know, our schools are going to close, and if that's the case, then the revenue sharing is going to go. But like everything else, it's again, who knows? None of us in here have a crystal.
Well, the state.
What I was getting at, you pointed it all out. The way you move the money around at town meeting in the articles is what allows you guys to spend the money. And gives you guys permission to spend the money for the town.
Okay.
That's
depends on the account.
Right. And the other night we just had somebody in here arguing over a $3,500 grader from 6 years ago.
4,900, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
My point being, I think $31,000 is a town approval.
It is not.
No,
This is not happening.
not that.
Okay,
doesn't
so-
have to be.
Well, all right, what,
Why wouldn't it?
okay, so last week, there was a taxpayer come in and try to state that the Board of Selectmen do not have the legal purview to expend funds with a majority vote of the board out of capital improvement accounts. And that is 100% incorrect. However, those accounts were created, it was for the majority vote of the board to expend out of those 3 capital improvement accounts. We can move monies on a weekly basis if we choose, as a majority of the board. We can do it weekly. We don't need the taxpayers' permission. We got the taxpayers' permission with that. And I really hope that they trust us because they elected us and we're here to do a job. And, you know, being fiscally responsible is pretty high on the list. Mitigating risk for the town is my top priority. So the capital reserve surplus general fund is that goes to taxpayer for approval. Now, it doesn't mean that we can't do a article for this sign. However, as he stated several times, tariffs, that's increasing exponentially every day. The availability of source materials is going up every day. So which do you choose? Do you choose to get it for the cheaper money or wait for a year or two? And it's instead of $32,000, it's $42,000. So now we're expending an extra 10 grand. So, I mean, again, none of us have a crystal ball, but Chief, how's it going with the public safety building? $3.898 million. Yeah, exactly, because the prices are changing daily and things just aren't, the dollar isn't getting as much bang for the buck. So I will give my opinion on this topic, and then I'm going to ask for my other colleagues' opinion. It is valued very much. One of the largest complaints that this town has, universally, is the lack of information. Well, I didn't know that meeting was happening. I didn't know this was going on. I didn't hear about that. I had no idea about this. It's all the time. And it is definitely my opinion, and is why I was in favor of this committee and doing their homework and providing that volunteer time to come up with a way that is going to put out a lot of information to the entire town. When the initial meeting catalyst, I guess, against this sign started, it was, you know, I don't like it. You know, we can advertise in the paper. Okay. And again, this is my opinion. And don't forget, folks, I am a taxpayer just like you. It is my opinion that the majority of today's society, they're catching stuff on the fly because everybody is exponentially busy. And they're online. You know, the newspaper, yep, I agree. Man, I can remember getting the Sharpest Guy when I was a kid. I really do. It's an advertisement publication. There are no editorials, there are no comics, it's strictly for advertising. And, you know, they make their money off of it. And good on them. They're good people. I know them. But I don't think it reaches the masses as much as online or the ability to drive down Main Street, because everybody's got to go to the store. Everybody's got to go get gas. They got to get groceries. They got to go to school. They got to go to work. They got to go. They got to go. And it's all the time. I can honestly say from when I started towing 12 years ago, traffic in Brownfield has increased. And I would ask the chief if that is truly the case. So the availability of getting the information that a majority of the taxpayers say that they're not getting is going to be right up front. Scrolling by, if they see something, that piques their interest, worst case scenario, they're going to turn around. Did I catch that right? And they're going to come in and they're going to ask. Or they're going to get online when they get home. Hey, what's going on? It's a very good informational deal. So halfway through this fiscal year, we've spent over half of what we would spend for this electronic sign in newspaper advertising. Okay. Now that's just the selectmen's line. That does not count the planning board. So I don't even know what they'd expect. Another good point as far as advertising, for the municipality out there. I've had meetings 4 days a week. Last week was 4 as well, with the last one on Friday. 4 days a week for the remainder of this month. So that information can be put out there. It's scrolling by. The website is new and it is being updated daily, with changes and things. It's not a perfect thing, but it takes time to perfect. So I am definitely of the opinion to expend the 32,206, put the sign up. It's a vast amount of information that is going to be visually available to every taxpayer in this town. Now, we're not here. We're here for the majority. That's how democracy works, not the minority. The majority is stating they don't get the information. They don't know what's going on at the town level. So anything we can do to offset that, I think is a worthy cause. 10 years at 3,200 a year. This is paid off. Type of thing.
Just a quick comment, with everything that's going on in town and all the different departments, including fire, recreation and whatnot, the Weekly Shopper is a good source of information, but my personal opinion is we would have to put an ad in every week.
We do.
And at every week at $64, it's $3,328. So that exceeds that 3,200 we'd be spending each year on the sign.
There's nothing wrong with the papers, and what I priced out was the Shopper's Guide to Conway Sun. Problem with the newspaper is by the time I get it, sometimes I read it 2 days later. So it's always after the fact. It's always a delayed time. And this gives a real time notification against. The newspaper does not. It's usually, unless you catch it right on the day that it comes out, and if there's any changes, you can't get them changed in the paper, so you've kind of thrown the money away. Where the sign, at least it would be real time, changes could take place at that point in time. There's things even like the benefit shares that the fire department has, and I hear about like a day later, somehow I missed the whole thing. Right. But things like that would be, those would be nice to be able to pick up on when they announce.
Well, okay, usually notices come out a week ahead of time because of the scheduling on the papers, and I realize a lot of people don't read it. But as far as signing, you've got someone wrote in a suggestion and a concern regarding the electric sign. After driving past the town of Raymond electric sign and not be able to read a thing on it, they're against the sign expenditure and all that at 20,000. I do believe your money would be better spent. They're talking about ventilation because the town had closed with COVID, which me and some other people in here got COVID and they had to close the office. Fortunately, Bill closed it, so a lot of people wouldn't get it, that, and as far as expenditures from the state, in January of this year, in the newspaper, the state, the governor must address a projected deficit of $450 million for the state in the next 2 years fund budget. Okay, plus an additional 118 million shortfall in the current year's budget for Maine care. So the state is really hurting for money. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And it's gonna be hard for them to, you know, just throw money at where people need it other than the state. The president said because of the tariffs and everything, it's possible.
Vinny, I think you made the point.
No, well, the president also, we might be going into a recession. Said that the other day.
The sky's falling.
We're getting into what's available for money, but that's where we live. We live in the state, we live in the federal, and we're dependent on all of them.
The Russians are gonna help us, don't worry about it.
Well, we might see their flag out there eventually.
I'd like to have time to give my opinion.
Yeah, go right ahead.
I'm all for the sign to start with. The only, because I've changed the letters out there a good many times over 20, 30 years. And it's no fun. I don't care if it's a good day. On the bad days, it's really bad, but on the good days, it's still quite a hassle. The only problem I have with it, and I think we're up against it because of everything that's going on, the prices are going up so fast that that's one reason why I'm gonna probably go ahead and agree with doing it now, but my personal opinion is I'd love to see this go for a vote in front of the town because we are a town meeting form of government and I like to see the people have their say in it.
Is that a motion?
No, that's not a motion. That's my opinion.
Okay, that was second.
The problem with it is, at this point, all of that is hinged on
now.
Yes.
That's what, well, I did that right in because of the price of things going up so fast that maybe we can't wait.
Well, we had two residents come in and request that goes on the town meeting, Terry and Jeannie Blake.
The pricing's good through end of summer.
Yeah,
Well,
so August of 2025.
is this
Okay, now,
website notifying people of the dates for meetings? It's actually site committee. They're not on the website.
sign,
Yeah,
that's been on there. I know you guys have put that.
no, it's not on the website.
Selectmen meetings.
Yeah.
We've discussed quite a bit of selectmen meetings.
Well, I'd like to point something out, with your comment. Two taxpayers. Two came in and complained. Okay,
No, three, so no one here on it.
okay,
And me, four.
hang on, let me finish.
I'm just trying to.
Two people came in, two taxpayers came in and complained. We had the discussion. After that, I had a taxpayer which filled out that form. Talked to me in the hallway. Okay? During the initial meeting with the two complaints, you joined in, you disagreed with it. 4 taxpayers, folks. 4 taxpayers have complained. 4 out of 1,700. 4. So where's the majority? And that's my point. Where is the majority? Because I'm here to tell you, when there was something, when it came down to water extraction, this place and that place were packed to the gills. We couldn't let any more people in. Correct, Chief? We had to turn people away because that was a hot topic. Now that is a majority showing up to voice their concern and saying, hey, we got a problem. But 4 puts a wiggle in the works.
Well, it's not just 4. I've talked to a lot of people. And,
how many's a lot? Give me a number.
Casually, I mean, I don't go searching, probably a dozen.
Okay, so 12.
Yeah, but I mean, how many people have, talked about any of the subjects that come up that we present? But yeah, I mean, I agree with Frank. This is something we should go to the town to vote on, and then we'll find out how many people are interested in it.
The only thing I
That's
not what I said, Nick. I said I would like to see that, but under the circumstances, maybe it's not, feasible. And I'd like to see the town have a vote on any time, like you buy a new truck or anything like that, they should have a vote on.
Well,
But sometimes it don't work that way.
Can we put it on this April's?
No, it's too late.
We just added something on.
No, we did not.
We added something on.
No, we did not.
Stapled to the page.
No, we did not add anything to the referendum, Vinnie. The absentee ballots went out, it was March 2nd that they had to be available. There is statutorily, by law, we cannot make any changes to that ballot. Period. We did not make any changes to that ballot, because if we did, we got a problem, because nobody told me about it.
Well, I saw it in the office out here in the lobby. There's the enterprise grants.
Yep.
That was added to it.
No,
it wasn't added originally.
Yeah, no, it was on there.
I don't remember.
The ballot, the draft ballot, we all reviewed it, and at that point, it was bang, this is our ballot. We finalized the ballot. Town clerk, please publish, because we had to in order to meet the 30-day requirement of March 2nd for absentee ballot availability. At no time did anybody make a ballot change March 1st on. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Because what is it, Article 8? I think it's Article 7. That was on there. Because if we added it, then how the hell do we wind up with 8 articles and 7's the only one, 7 comes before 8? It would have changed the numbering. We didn't change any ballots. I guarantee that. 100%. So,
well, you heard my concern on it. It's the money.
Okay, we'll discuss
the time when money's gonna be tight. That's mostly what I'm concerned about. I'm not saying we shouldn't do the sign, I'm saying it's this point in time, there's so much uncertainty about money. And, you know, maybe we're gonna have to not give the raises we'd like to get. So I mean, that's.
Well, and that's another thing.
Yeah.
You know, with the raises that we want to give, that's taxpayer freaking vote, man. You know, they decide, hey, and I've been to town meetings, we put in for 5%, and it's been haggled for like 45 minutes from 1.5 to 3.5. Let's make it 3.2 back and forth. You know, it is what it is. I am definitely of the opinion when it comes to that we mirror the cost of living increase nationally. 2.5. It's comparable. It's chewable. It's doable. But you know, one of the things, you know, improving the town and its availability to get information is pretty high priority. Last question.
All I was gonna do is make a statement. We've haggled over the sign. Can the board please make a decision whether or not we're gonna do a sign or not do a sign? So we can put an end to this.
So we ought to at least talk about which one of these proposals. Interested in this.
Okay, well, if that's the case. All right. I'm getting a headache.
Well, I make a motion.
Hey, can we
go on town meeting, but obviously.
Well, are you making that motion?
Yeah, I make a motion.
Make that motion.
Bring the sign information, what we're proposing, for which one we want to choose. And put it on the June town meeting article, so that people can vote on it and get, you know, an idea of where it's being spent, along with all the other articles that are being included for spending, so that people can get an overall opinion on everything that's being spent and put it in perspective.
The reason I'm not taking comment is because we have a motion open on the floor.
Okay.
I'll second.
You second my motion?
Yeah.
All in favor?
You in favor?
No,
Okay,
I second it so we can vote.
okay, let's do it.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we go with $32,206.
Second that motion. With the motion, recorded motion, as it will come out of the capital improvement for buildings fund. Agreeable, treasurer?
Yes.
Thank you. So very specific on that capital reserve. Any more discussion?
No point.
In favor?
Opposed, you vote one opposed.
Alright. So. Got that done. Correspondence folder. Maintenance man proposed contract, he's the Mo guy. 13/6/27, we discussed that, he was here in last week's meeting, we're good to go. I would make a motion that we approve that. And incorporate it into the warrant. The budgeted item, which would go on the admin budget. So I'll make that motion. Anybody?
So that's for the meetings on the admin?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the 13/6/27.
Yeah.
All in favor? Perfect, thank you. The planning board has sent an official request to the select board for, as it stated March 6th. Brownfield planning board members voted on March 4th to request that the selectmen set the fees for the proposed short-term rental ordinance as follows. New STR 150, renewal STR 150, and revise the commercial and industrial business application from 20 to 150. I will make that motion.
So right now, the application fee is 20, we're going up to 150?
Yes, the last time that there was a revision was September 6th of 2011. So I think it's time. It's whenever people are coming in with this, it's costing the town to do it.
2150.
Yeah.
What's that?
That's annual fee or what
Yes.
is
Well,
one-time fee for application?
Yeah, it's one-time fee for the business permit.
Right.
The revised commercial industrial business application from 20 to 150, so that they put in an application for a commercial
Right.
business.
So you're gonna be not hitting 150.
That's it. After one,
Okay.
after
Never
150.
heard.
No, the STR is, and that is if this would take effect if the STR ordinance is in fact passed.
Yes,
at
right.
referendum. So I will make that motion. All in favor? Perfect. There's that one. Let's see, this is, you guys got emailed the final on this, on the STR.
I didn't get anything in an email from that. Since the
I
meeting
made-
with the SDR.
Right. What they did was there was some language in a couple of the paragraphs that said, you know.
Page 46, she marked it.
It duplicated.
Yeah, it's
Two
duplicated.
items for a renewal form, and the other one
That's,
was.
well, that's the responsibility of the planning board anyway, right? Yeah. So it's-
Well, short-term rental registrants and short-term rental registrants seeking, so that was just, it was a verbiage change. It didn't change the content, it
Right.
just got rid of
Yeah.
the extras.
Right.
Like, fire chief, CEO will not be doing. So, but yes, so we're good with that. Are you good with the draft on the SDR?
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah, yes.
So. Is everything? That's the changes. Okay. We don't need to sign that, we just. Everybody knew that there was those changes to that. The verbiage in that STR. Communication form. Anonymous, plow came through and decimated my 91-year-old mother's mailbox on Old County Road. When spring comes, is there anyone from the town that can help us fix it? This typically happens every year and we do our best to fix it, but this time it was torn to pieces. Thank you. Somebody's daughter. Yeah, can
Oh.
you? Do it again.
I got a question about it, that's the only thing, because I went up by and looked at it, and the post is still sticking up there and it's all cleaned out on both sides, so did they hit it with a plow or did they hit it with a loader they pushed the snow back? I'm not saying,
No, either way, do this. I will sign this as reviewed. You fellas as well, I read it aloud. Forward this to Cliff, tell him to contact me on this.
Okay.
I'll make sense.
Okay.
Go look up the old folks.
yeah. I'd rather give them one put it up.
Okay, from the insurance, commercial lines. Reviewed a deductible increase for the company and increases an across the board increase for all policies. Company is now looking for $1,000 deductibles as the minimum deductible, but decided to only go to 500 on your account. Perfect. All right. So they wanted to bump us to 1,000, but we got them down to 500, so I'm good with that. Veterans Bridge. Senator Bennett sponsored the bridge in Brownfield. That's the one down here, right?
Green Bridge.
The Green Bridge. Okay.
Affectionately known as the Green Bridge.
We actually, where'd that thing go? It must be out in the hall.
It's up in the hall.
Yeah, we got a little plaque thing. That's gonna be. Pass through transportation and goes through the Senate House. DOT will put up signs on each end of the bridge once this all passes. Takes about 3 months after the state passes it, so summertime. We should have the Memorial Bridge down there, both ends.
Sound of 113 is the 10-mile bridge that she's going on, not the Green Bridge.
All right.
Oh, it's not the Green Bridge?
No, not 10-mile bridge. No,
That'd be rough.
Well, we're on 113.
Yeah.
Go over there, but
Exactly, down. Transfer station.
Yeah, bridges.
no, there's a bridge there.
So that's the one that's going.
Additional question.
School board agenda, agenda for the school board meetings to be held Wednesday, March 12th at 7 in the Mollyocket School Gym. Board of directors, so that taking it, that's where they're gonna, yeah. So we, if you guys could post these minutes on the website, please.
Okay, and I have also posted all of the school board meetings on the calendar too.
Oh, perfect. All right, Billy Flynn's got that, and we'll discuss bids. He's gone. Can you add to next week's agenda the these, yeah, that and these estimates? They have that one, this one, and this one. If you could put that on for next week's agenda, we'll cover those in the meeting at time. So. Okay, that finalizes this on this page. Okay, so. Correspondence done. Anybody from the audience? Nothing? Anything on Zoom? Patty?
I'm all set, thanks.
Anything on Zoom?
Oh, it is not set up for that yet. I
Oh,
didn't
okay.
realize that.
No worries.
I'm good.
As good as I'm gonna be. I'm trying to do something. Trying to make up something.
Next week.
That's it. Good. Make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, everybody.
Second.
Raise your hand.
Except,
There you go. Yeah, we're good.
except the vote on the, sorry. Everybody else, I know. Thank you. Your evening.
So I gotta reach out to Leah on Cornhill.